Everybody, this is Tiffany Wibben. Said your last name correctly, not Webben, Wibben.
You did it perfect.
Thank you. We are, the title of this webinar is the Hygiene Department Revolution from Team Engagement to Practice Profitability. And Tiffany and I met a few months back and we started talking and we couldn't stop talking. And so we thought we need to talk more. So let's do a webinar and let everybody hear us talk.
So true. That was so fun.
Anyway, Tiffany and I are obviously cut from the same thread. Um, we're going to try and make sure we're giving ourselves some constraints tonight to make sure that this does not go too long because we end up talking about random stuff and it just goes on forever. So we're going to try and keep this to about 30 minutes. Okay. Try and pack it full of information from Tiffany and her tenured experience in the dental industry and working with hygiene departments. And the format here will be me just simply interviewing Tiffany and asking hopefully some tough questions to kind of pull out of her brain, some tips and tricks and strategies that will help you guys and your dental teams uh, improve your profitability by improving the communication between your teams, supporting your hygiene department, etc. Is that a fair analysis overview of what we're going to do, Tiffany?
100%.
All
You,
right.
you crushed that.
All right. And I wear glasses because not because I'm old and not because I can't see small words this close up, because it makes me look smarter. So, right? I look smarter with these on.
Yeah, I think you
Yeah.
do.
No,
I wear them
actually,
because I can't read without them.
actually, I can't read without them. It's just old age. All right. So I'm going to give you just a brief introduction, Tiffany, and then I'd like for you to expand on this. So Tiffany you've been working in the dental industry for forever. What, 20
Oh,
years, 30 years?
yeah, like 30 years. Yes, yes.
Forever. She's written mostly in hygiene. You were a hygienist for how long?
So I was in practice management
Oh, okay.
before hygiene, and then in 2005 went to hygiene school and discovered very quickly that my practice building skills could be that much better from the hygiene operatory. I was like, I could build this practice
Mm,
from within the op in the back
yeah.
and was very effective. But yeah, started in practice management and actually managed 6 practices, both general and specialty at one time before there was DSO, before the word
But this wasn't a group
DSO.
practice. These were 6 individual practices?
They were, and by a single doctor, and he was genius, general and specialty together, and it was great. It was a really great learning experience, that's for sure.
That's
And then
great.
I had a change in life, went through a divorce, and said,
Ouch.
okay, I can continue being a practice manager, which I loved. I
Hmm.
could become a dentist, or I could become a hygienist. And I always loved my hygienist. And so I thought, oh, which one would take less school and would cost less money because I'm a single mom? I'm like, hygiene,
Hygiene.
and I would crush it. And so I did. I went to hygiene school and came out just blazing, just so excited to practice and serve my doctor and serve my patients. And
Yeah.
I haven't even
How
looked
long did
back.
you do that for?
Well, I've been a practicing hygienist since 2005, and I'm licensed in 2 states, in California and Tennessee, and I still service from the hygiene chair, but by with training hygiene teams. And so
Okay.
I will see patients. I show up to train teams, the practices that I manage in my scrubs, ready to go. And
Okay.
so in Tennessee and California, I can do some chair side training
Uh-huh.
as long as patients say they give permission. And we do that, with like laser training and
Yeah.
just different things. If there's a very extensive case or something, then a newer hygienist might ask me, like your all on X cases.
Yeah.
I've had hygiene teams say, can you come and help me with this patient? I've never seen dentistry like this in hygiene school. And so the license is so nice to have because then I can jump
Okay.
in with patient's permission and help.
Yeah. What was it about hygiene, being a hygienist, that really like suck you in or sucked you in? Like what aspects of it?
Well, number one, my 2 children were soon to be collegiate athletes. They were like superstars. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be traveling around the country. I need a job or a career that I can take off. And my hygiene teams that I worked with, the hygienists could take off and be with their
Yeah.
children and have weekends and it was a lot different than hospitality, which was
Yeah.
before dentistry, right? Where you're working weekends and
Yeah.
holidays. And so I gravitated towards it. And then the whole patient care aspect and serving my doctor
Hmm.
and just that pride,
Yeah.
and being able to serve and do a good job at the end of the day and have a wonderful relationship with a team and all that. I mean, it's just wonderful.
All right, I
Yeah.
gotta ask, what sport for your kid?
Baseball and softball. Yes.
Baseball and softball. All right.
Yeah.
Did your baseball player play college then?
Yes. He
Where
was a
at?
collegiate at Cal State LA.
Okay, cool.
He 6'4", 230 pound big pitcher. And so he pitched in college. And then my tiny girl, she she's tiny but mighty, but she played right field, center field, and she's amazing collegiate player. She played
Awesome.
at Cal State Bakersfield. So
Well, that's great. Congratulations. It's nice to have kids that are sports
thank
fiends,
you.
being
Well, it's
able to
super
support
nice
that.
when they're college, all you do, you don't even have to pay for a piece of toast. I
Yeah,
mean,
I know they get it. It's comped. It's all paid
yeah,
for.
I mean it's wonderful, but they learned a lot of hard work, the work ethic and
Yeah,
being on time and hey, if you're on time, you're late, so you better
yeah.
show up early. All of those good things. And so it was a definite benefit to them being good human beings, right?
Well, on this whole college sports idea, I also have a child who
Ooh,
is a college sports phenom. He joined
you're laughing. What sport?
gaming.
Oh, oh my gosh. They make a lot
They
of
have
money with gaming. They
college teams
do?
that play video games now.
I
And
have
I'm
no
like,
idea.
I finally, like, I'm pretty athletic, and I played
Yeah, yeah.
growing up. I pushed my kids to play sports, and I got a college gamer. So I tell everybody, I am so proud of my college sports.
That's so great. Well, of
Yeah,
course
I
he
did.
went into that area because his dad is Mr. Tech King.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on. Of course he did. Of course he
Anyway,
did. He's not going to go
I'm a
throw a
college
baseball.
athlete. So I always join the conversation. Oh yeah, I've got a college athlete too, and then I don't tell him what he's
You
doing.
have to tell him. That's awesome. That's a skill.
All
And that takes
right.
practice,
Uh,
hand-eye
I had to
coordination,
bring it
all
up. I had to
that.
bring it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, that's great. That's a good background on who you are, your experience. So you're actively practicing as a hygienist currently, or
When
no?
I train teams.
When you
So I
train
don't
teams. Okay.
I don't have a 8 to 5
Got it.
hygiene position. I miss it terrible, but I get my cup gets full when I go and I help other hygienists
Yeah.
excel and I get to be in the dental practice and so my cup gets full and it's
So,
wonderful.
so you do full practice, kind of practice operations consulting. So you'll go into a practice and handle really anything in terms
Yeah.
of like team orientation processes, procedures. You'll train on that, but you hyper focus in on hygiene. That's kind of your specialty. Yes?
Yes, yes, because that's the driver. I want my dentist owners to have less stress in their jobs there at their practices. I don't want them to do more and be more. I want them to lean on their powerful team. And so when you've got a powerful team of hygiene providers, oh my gosh, like the practice that we built, my doctor and I, hand in hand, from 2 hygienists to 11 and 2 expansions of that practice. And that practice is just doing so well. And it's because of his hygiene team. And he elevates them and gives them autonomy.
Yeah.
And you know what? They're serving their practice and just doing wonderful. And so that was his vision. And I would come at 5 a.m. with these ideas. And you know what? He would listen to me. I'm
Yeah.
like, what about if we brought in lasers to the practice? And he was like, I haven't really researched that. And then 2 months would go by and I'd walk in, I go, okay, we really need a laser.
Yeah.
Okay, how about this? You don't buy it, I'll buy it, but I get the production. Anything I produce and we get
Oh,
collected, I get
nice.
it.
Yeah. And
So
he's
guess
like,
what
all
he
right,
did?
whatever.
No, so he bought a laser. And so now they have one in every operatory. And so we laugh about it now, he and I. And so it's just so funny. But he did purchase another practice and I helped him with that. I'm helping him with that one too.
Okay.
And it's just a great
All right.
relationship.
So I got a question about this dynamic that I've recognized in the dental industry. So I focus primarily on marketing, right? My
Right.
company does marketing stuff, right? So we're just doing digital marketing, driving patients to the practice and trying to get scheduled appointments. And so I don't really get into any practice management stuff, right? But I notice, and I've been doing this for 15 years, and I've noticed this over and over again. You'll get into a conversation with either an office manager or a hygienist or the dentist,
Yeah.
right? And there is bad juju. Like they're not communicating well. So obviously that is a big problem because hygiene absolutely drives practice growth. Okay. But there's like, what's going on? Like, what's happening inside of a practice where the dentist has a difficult time collaborating and coordinating with the hygiene and vice versa? There's like is this just bad management? Is it that the incentives are not set up properly? Is it just culture? Tell me what's going on because I think a lot of the people that jumped in on this webinar might be experiencing something like that.
Yes.
So, can you
So,
elaborate on that and tell me what's happening and what's going on?
of course, so we see this too, and here's how we combat that. We definitely make sure that we have built-in collaboration time because a lot of it is just like you said, miscommunication.
Yeah.
We're having hallway conversations. Here we are, powerful providers making a major impact in the practice, and we're having hallway conversations, and that has to stop. And so the first thing we do is we build it in, protected collaboration time and making sure that the hygiene team meets with the dentist and the dental associate so everybody's on the same page at least once a month, and then using a consistent handoff system so that way miscommunication is reduced and stress is reduced, and including the key phrases that we use and clinical cues and having that confidence in those care plans where everybody is yesing the plan for the patient. And what happens is when we have that unified message, the trust goes up, but not just the trust between the providers and the patient, the trust between the dentist and the hygienist.
Okay, so what's this solve? I mean, okay, so communication, right? There's a lack of communication, but tell me like if you were to say we're gonna have a monthly meeting, hygiene's meeting with the dentist or the dentist and the office manager, whoever's involved, give me the quick bullet point, like what's gonna be talked about in that meeting? Like what are they talking about and deciding on?
So it's a feedback meeting. And so the minute that you sit down and you go, like the first thing we do when we come in is, okay, we're going to build a mission statement, not for the, if you have one for the practice, great. This is for the hygiene department. And
Okay,
everybody gets involved in building it. The hygienist, the dentist, the associates, everybody collaborates on that, puts
okay,
in their feedback. So that way there's buy-in because they helped write it. Now, the dentist at the end is the one that says, yes, this is the message. This is what I like. But the hygiene team sees that they all gave their feedback and doctor listened. And guess what? I'm bought into that mission. Okay.
all right. I have a question though. I'm gonna cut you off.
Sure.
So what if you're I'm gonna throw the doctor under the bus, okay? What if your doctor just simply can't communicate? They like in their speech, they
Sure.
are beating people up, right? They just never have been taught really well how to communicate. They kind of like puff their chest up
Good for
or
them.
they don't listen very well. Like, what do you do in that situation?
So basically, a lot of my job is helping our leaders be even better leaders, better communicators, better listeners,
Okay.
all of that. And so, like in my second book, that I co-authored with my partner Marnie for the Culture Catalyst, we talk about leadership and what it takes, and it's hard. And most dentists go to dental school to provide dentistry.
Right.
They don't know how to deal with, teams
Yeah.
and oh, how do I
Drama.
communicate?
Yeah.
And how do I talk to these, because predominantly hygiene is women, right? How do I talk to these female hygienists and all of this? So we help with all of that. And we really do make sure that doctors have those tools to go into these meetings and they can lead it and it could have a positive outcome.
So
And
you would act, I totally cut you off again, but I'm going to keep doing it. So I'm just
it's
going to
okay.
apologize
It's
right now.
okay.
So you
Yeah.
would actually, if you go into a practice and you're recognizing a lack of communication ability on either the dentist or
Yes.
on the hygiene department, because, it's not every time. It's just the dentist that's the bad communicator. You got the
Right.
hygiene department, and they don't know how to take criticism in a healthy way or whatever it might be, right? Or they don't know how to stand up for themselves and make suggestions and improve the processes by participating, right? Maybe
Right.
they think they're just you know, a, I'm just going to do what I'm told, and I'm not going to do more than that. And that's not the type of employee that anybody wants. You want somebody
No,
that's
no,
collaborative.
that's not what you want.
You're
You
right, because I don't
you
want that
want to
employee.
involve them
Yeah.
in decision making. You want to have also regular recognition for your teams.
Okay.
Like why recreate the wheel? We've got the Ritz-Carlton, okay? One of the best, and I worked there, so I know. And in fact, this is what I wore in my pocket every day when I went to work. And it
Even
was
my glasses won't help me read that.
okay, it's the Ritz-Carlton Credo.
Oh,
It's
I
the
got you.
promise to serve. It's the steps of service. And so this is what it's about. It's about really elevating your team and you want their feedback. Like
Yeah,
we don't call them performance reviews. We call them, hey, let's have a feedback time.
I like that.
And it's a
Yeah.
get and it's positive and it's back and forth. And also, when we do feedback time, we also utilize our metrics because the metrics don't lie and we present it like, hey, this is
It's
where we're
factual.
at.
Yeah. It's
And we're crushing it on reappointments. Thank you so much. You're doing amazing and patients are happy. And oh my gosh, your acceptance rate is over 75%. This is so great. Your communication is so good with our patients. They're understanding their dentistry, they're trusting your words.
right.
So you use the metrics during those feedback times
Okay.
for every position in the practice because everybody's a provider in my book, from the front office to the back.
Okay.
And having the definitely having regular recognition, ongoing education and mentorship is important. That gets employees
What
bought
does that
in.
mean? What does that mean? Ongoing mentorship. What does that mean?
Okay, so for example, the dentist I worked for, and I call him my forever dentist, okay, Dr. Brown, he
By
would
the way,
say,
that's a great name for dental practice. Forever Dentistry.
he's my forever dentist. He's like a brother, and I get to see him in a few days. I'm so excited in California. But it's mentorship. Like he saw something in me before I did.
Hmm.
And he said, "You need to write a book." And I went, "What?" He goes, "You've been writing systems and operations for me forever. You manage practices. You always come in at 5:30 in the morning and texting me with feedback of all of these things we need to be doing with the practice." But guess what? He listened.
Hmm.
So the cover of my book is a hygienist lifting up her practice.
Yeah, we can see the logo actually right on the screen
Okay,
there.
so that is me with my doctor. I'm lifting his practice up with all of our patients in there, but he let me. He
Okay.
empowered me. He gave me the
Right.
autonomy. He mentored me. He would say, "You know what? You're getting bored." And I'm like, "Oh gosh, am I like totally being a loser at work?" He's like, "No, I got to send you to another class. You're getting bored. You need to get fed."
Yeah.
So ongoing education and mentorship is that. And then what happens is when you invest in your team like that, they're going to invest in your practice.
Oh, they're committed. They're
Give back.
valued. They eat it up. Yeah.
They feel
So
good. Yeah.
it's an alignment of a mission for the company, but it's also shifting the dynamic from critical feedback to positive feedback with a little bit of suggestion on. I imagine that this really has an incentive program, putting together some kind of an incentive to encourage participation in whatever the goal of the company is like really important, right?
So
Because
fun. It makes it fun. People
yeah,
like games, okay? They like any type of learning system, like what I'm building for the second book, gamification. You talk about your son playing those games, right? It's fun. And so when you can equip put learning and development and growth with like a contest
mhm.
or a brag board in the back of the in the break room where
Right,
everybody
right, right,
can
right.
see wow moments,
Yep,
and then maybe or referral program like we were talking about before. When people are these hygienists are asking for referrals when they get a positive comment from their patient,
yep.
right? And they do that, and then they get lunch, whoever does that the most or something. It's fun. It
You know,
makes it
I I,
fun.
I have an experience with this that you've probably done something really similar to this. So one of our services is a reputation management product where we basically help dentists get more Google reviews because Google reviews are like a
Sure.
huge social proof statement. If you've got 800 Google reviews and nobody else in your area has got anywhere near that, you're going to get a ton of new patients, right?
Right.
So there's all sorts of technology out there. We have apps and things like that. They'll send a text to a patient to get a review, and there's email campaigns. And we've tried literally everything: QR codes, handout cards, email campaigns, calling a patient to have them give a review. The one thing that works every time, consistently, no questions asked, and it works so well, it's like a 60 to 70% conversion versus five in terms of like if you asked 100 patients to give you a read, you get about 60 or 70 of them if you do it this way versus all the automation on the planet, you might get 5 to 10% conversion. Okay, and I've done this with thousands of practices, so the data is
Mhm.
pretty solid, right? Here's the trick. You have to ask for a review. It's that simple. In the practice, the
Yep.
team member has to ask that awesome patient, the one they know is going to give them a great review, hey, I would love for you to give us a review. Now, the problem with that is that when you tell the dental team to start asking reviews, they feel awkward.
Totally.
So what we
Totally.
did is we
It's
put
in,
together, sorry,
yeah, it's in the approach.
yeah, it's in the approach. So this is what we did. We put together a whole marketing campaign with posters and the brag board in the back office and all this kind of stuff, talking about we would love to get some reviews, and we would train the team, set a goal to get 100 new reviews, and then we would sit down with the doctor in another meeting when not everybody's involved. We'd say, you have to pay these guys to get the reviews, or they will forget. You got to
Yeah,
give them a spiff. You got to give them a Sephora gift card. You got to buy them lunch. You got to give them a $5 bonus.
gotta recognize them.
Right. So I did a review in 2021. I reviewed 26,000 practices, all ones that had the most reviews in the United States. Okay. I had this tool that would scrape the entire internet and it would tell me which dental practices have the most reviews. Okay. 26,000 practices came into this database. I called the top 10. The third practice, the one that had the third most reviews in the country, they had like 4 or 5 thousand reviews. I called him and I interviewed the office manager who was running the campaign. I found out he was doing this. This is exactly what he was doing. It wasn't one of our clients. He just figured it out on his own. And he says, look, when my team comes to me for a raise, I say, get reviews. He says, I've got an employee that gets so many reviews, she's making $4,000 to $5,000 more a year, and I don't have to give her a raise. And it benefits the practice. It's just so damn simple, but it's so hard because the breakdown comes with the team member feeling like they have to buy into the idea, and there's just no way to do that without some kind of an incentive.
Well, and you have to do some training because, Adrian, not all of us are extroverts like me,
No, no, they're
right?
super. They
Okay,
feel really weird about it. Yeah.
so awkward, and you know what? You have to go in and you really have to do some intentional training on how to ask. And I know we don't like scripts because we want to be authentic and in ourselves, but you give them a a script, and
Yeah.
then they can make it into their own, right?
Right.
And you practice because that's what you're supposed to do. You practice, 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 and then it becomes very easy. But it's when patients give you a compliment, that's when you ask. You say, you know what? Thank you so much. That is so nice to hear. Is there any way that you can give us some feedback, like just like you shared right now? Because we're still growing and our community really needs to know that our existing patients feel like this. It means more than paying for an ad. And so, because they like their hygienist, because we've got this bond with these people, I mean, we can make best friends with our new patients in 5 minutes. Okay. We've
Yeah.
got a gift, right? So, you lean on hygiene to ask for these reviews because they're getting compliments. Now, their
Yeah,
front
and they're
office
having
is,
the conversation with the patient. I mean, like I go in my
it's
hygienist and I
easy.
know her name and
And
I
we
know
have
her
the most
history
time
and
with them.
yeah,
We have the most time with them. And so it's not to say that front office can't or assistants, but they don't have as much time as we
right,
do,
right,
right?
right.
So what's kind of interesting with this is that I had patients calling or like new patients calling into the practice saying, I want to see Tiffany. And then Wendy in the front desk would say, well, do you know her from baseball? You know her from softball? You know her from football? How do you know her? Just so she could have
Yeah,
her
yeah,
her
yeah.
notes. And they'd say, oh no, she has the most reviews. She must be the best hygienist you have. Well, I wasn't. I'm not the best hygienist. I love my career, right?
Yeah.
But I was the best at asking for reviews, and I could say that because it was awesome. It was fun, and it was easy for me because I figured it out. You do it when they give you a compliment, and it's super easy.
Oh, well, the way that you said it, hey, thank you so much. Grateful,
Yeah,
showing some appreciation
so
for
sweet.
their nice comment and say, you know what? That's really helpful. We're still growing. We're trying to
Yeah,
get the word out. Would you be willing to give us some feedback? You're not asking for the review initially. You're saying
yeah.
feedback.
Feedback.
Okay, sure. Like, you know what? Matter of fact, would you just give us a Google review?
Yeah.
You
I
ask any patient that it's
yeah,
done. They're going to do it.
yeah.
They're going to do it right there.
Or you know what I've also done? We train teams to
Mhm.
say, can you give us a video review? And then the hygienist will take the patient up to the front and tell the front office during the handoff, oh my gosh, and she's so nice. She gave us such a nice compliment today, and she wants to put it on video. And so, right there, because it's part of our system, we've got that paper that the patient signs off on, right? Saying, I give permission. And
Yeah,
then sometimes I'll grab my doctor and say, Doctor, get over there and get in that video, please.
yeah,
And I don't care what doctor it is, as long as you have a white coat on, get over there and be with that patient.
yeah.
And then we get a quick video,
The video
and it's
content
great,
is like gold on social.
especially when they've
Yeah.
just had beautiful work
Yeah.
done and they want to show it. And so, but you got to feel the patient out. Not everybody is like,
No,
I
not
put
everybody's
lipstick
willing to
on.
do
I don't
that.
want to.
Yeah,
Right. So you
yeah,
just kind of have to, that's where social intelligence comes in, right? You got to read your patient.
yeah,
Are they ones that are just going to want to just do it in writing? Or are they that type of patient where you guys are vibing and they're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, I'm going to
yeah.
give you a review on video.
So this we've riffed on this for a while, but just to kind of like wrap this idea up, when you go into a practice, you would basically identify this is a particular strategy in your consulting, and you would basically say, here's how we do it.
Here's
You
how
would
we do
train
it.
everybody or put together the system, you would do the scripting, and I would imagine that you would do that with any type of like procedural strategy, because we're just talking about one idea here.
Right.
I'm sure you got 100 of them, but
Yes.
basically that's the type of coaching that you're doing when you go into the practice.
Absolutely. I
Now,
want to make their lives easy and the practice grow. And it's kind of like we talk about sports. It's like muscle memory, right?
yeah,
When we practice, it just becomes normal.
it's like
And then
for
it's
my
like,
kid, it's like this
see,
thumb muscle memory.
yeah, yeah. But guess what? He's got such great high hand-eye coordination. He's trained. And so he doesn't even have to think anymore, right? Like when my kids threw the ball, they
That's
didn't have
the
to think.
problem. Tiffany, listen, don't try and support freaking college gaming sports, okay? I
Well,
don't want him to do this.
if it's keeping him out of trouble and he's getting his education, I mean, who cares, right?
we're not going to talk about what's happened in keeping him out of trouble. I'm not going to
Okay. Well,
continue
you,
this, but
okay.
all right, listen,
So
I have a
fun.
couple of questions that I want you
Okay.
to answer really quick.
Sure.
All right. I think I say this person's name correct. Zaid. I hope I said your name right. Mission statement versus vision statement. Difference.
It's all part of it. The vision and mission. It's all part of it. It's just having a strategic mission that becomes like your DNA for the practice. It's your culture. It's your foundation for culture building, right? And so it's like your credo. That's what it is. It's your credo, your mission. And your vision builds into that.
Okay.
So it's like, what's your vision? What do you want for your practice? What's your why? Okay, now you're going to write your credo or your mission.
Okay. Gotcha. And I've read this before because I've had that question. I've asked that question myself. So I just Googled it and this is what it said. Your
Yeah.
mission statement defines your organization's purpose and how it serves its patients.
Yes.
Well, the vision statement outlines the desired future state of your long-term aspirations.
Yeah.
So it's
And
a
it's
difference of
but
a perspective of what you're giving to your community
yes,
versus where you want your practice to go and where
absolutely.
you envision your practice to be in the future.
But you can put it together and have what your purpose is and what your mission for the patient, and then also have your vision for the future, right?
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
have that too, all wrapped in one if you want. So it's just great, it's
Yeah.
and
I like it.
and to live that. That's the biggest thing is you can't write it and put it in a manual and like never look at it again.
It has to be something that's kind of like in the ecosystem of yeah,
In
it's
your
on
pocket.
right?
It's
You have
got
to
to
be able
be
to
in your
save.
pocket. And look at this one, Adrian. One of my practices in Georgia. He did this, the doctor, and this is laminated.
Uh,
And everybody wears this in their pocket every day of work. It's just like the Ritz.
yeah.
I mean, it's genius,
Well,
right?
it's part of a branding and culture thing where like we went through this activity for my company for my social practice and we were trying to define like what are we actually providing and it got into mission statements and vision statements and it's part of telling a story about who you are.
Yes.
So it's a little bit of storytelling. um, if you can tell the story of your practice, this is who we are, this is where we're going, kind of thing, and this is how we're going to get there, and these are the struggles that we're going to work through. You can pull a mission statement out, you can pull a vision statement out, you can pull out your one-liner. Like if you go to our website, it's be found and chosen. We help dentists be found and chosen. It's not just
Easy.
be found, you got to be chosen as well. So
Right.
it's an idea of like, so that was our one-liner, right? Like
Yes.
this is who we are.
Because
We help dentists become
because
chosen.
who is it? Simon Sinek, he
Yeah.
said,
Start with the why.
customers don't care what you do, they care why you do it.
Yep. Start with the why. Yep.
Okay. And so I tell doctors when I go into their practice, I'm like, you are not in the dental business. You're in the customer service business who happens to
Do
provide
dentistry.
exceptional dentistry, best in class dentistry. That's what we're trying to
That
adopt.
realigns that realigns everything. Simon Sinek, if you're watching, if you haven't watched Simon Sinek's
Awesome.
TED Talk, Simon Simon Sinek is Synek, I think.
Mm,
Sinek. Look it up while I ask
okay.
this next
You got it.
question. But you should watch it. It's a start with the why. It's kind of a revolutionary TED Talk that really reframed a lot of marketing and advertising for companies. The next
I put it in the
question.
chat. Simon Sinek. It's
Okay.
Sin. Of course, chat wants to misspell it. He wants to help and he's not working. So Sinek.
Sinek, Sinek.
Yes.
Okay. Um,
Hmm.
Zayed also asked, how do you monitor who asked the patient for a review? If a hygienist asks, then at the checkout, the front desk person also asked, like, how do you do that? So, I have a way. So in some of the reputation management technology that you can use, like almost like there's Podium, there's Bird Eye, there's Revenue Well, there's our product, my social practices revenue reputation management product. All of them have a kind of a very simple function. You send a text to a patient, the text comes in, they click on the link, and it takes them directly to your Google business profile and they give the review. And that just streamlines like
Right.
people who don't know where to go online to give a Google review. It just gives them the link, right? In all of those systems, it tracks who sent the text. So when you're sending the text, in the dashboard of the product, it shows that Tiffany sent the text or Adrian sent the text. And then it tracks whether or not the review came in. So manually, if you don't have a system like that, and manually, if you want to track it, you'd have to do it like I'm the one that asked the patient for the review. And if somebody else in the practice says, well, I asked them for the review and a review comes in, then if you have an incentive program, you just split the incentive. That's how I would handle it. But
Yes, but can I share how we did it?
yeah,
Because we
please go
didn't
ahead.
have a formal bird eye or a
Yeah, yeah,
formal my
go ahead.
social practice, because this is like way back when,
Yeah,
right? When we started asking, I mean, before Google back in the day was nothing, and then it happened. And if you were a business with the letter A, you got all the business,
yeah,
right?
AAA dentistry.
ABC dentistry, right? Or
Yeah,
yeah, AAA. I love it.
AAA dentistry.
So we document it in the notes. We would document it in the notes and make sure that is somewhere that it can be seen in the practice management system.
Got it.
So maybe not in the clinical notes, but like in a pop-up,
Got it.
right?
Got it.
Got different, everybody's got different systems, like practice management systems in their practice. So just making sure that something's popping up front and center. But there's also in-office communication systems where we would actually share that information with the front and say, hey, I already asked, and
Yeah.
and she's going to do it when she gets home or what have you. So that way it's constant communication and feedback.
Yeah.
That's what has to happen. I mean, everybody's got to be communicating in some way, and also focus on one way.
Yeah.
So if you're going to designate a spot in your practice management system for communication, make sure everybody on the team is trained that that's where it goes.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Because 100 times I go in and it's like, where do you put it? Where do you put it?
And it's
Where do
all
you put it?
different. You can't track it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
Um,
if you don't have that type of tech, then that's what you could do. But I like to lean on tech because why not? Right?
yeah.
I mean,
And they're super. I mean, the systems out there are freakishly cheap. I mean,
it's crazy.
yeah.
It's
So
crazy how we've come about. I mean, I was in dentistry with scheduling with a pegboard. Okay. I mean, this is before practice management system. So I've seen it evolve like
yeah.
no cell phone, no computer.
Right.
So in
Yeah.
dentistry, same. So why not lean on technology and pick the right one for you
Yeah.
and just, let the team do what they do best, and that is have those patient experiences, right?
Yeah. That's great. Zaid just said, thank you for your answers. We use routing slips so we can just document it on the slip during transfers.
Great,
That's
great
great.
way to do
Great way
it.
to do it.
I love
Um,
routing slips.
Another question from
Yeah.
Samia. She says, what do you do with a video review? Would you post it to your website as a testimonial?
Yes. I post it everywhere I could.
Everywhere.
Is that a
So
good answer, Mr. Marketer? I mean, I
yeah,
put it on the website.
absolutely everywhere.
It's called
Everywhere.
repurpose content. You
That
repurpose content, right? You hear
yeah,
about that in social, but it's the same. You take that video review, you put it on your website, you put it over social. You could play it in your reception area. I mean, if you have a TV thing, you can have those little video, like, to have the words with the patient picture. I mean, I've seen
yeah.
practices do that.
There's kind of in the zeitgeist of dental marketing consciousness, a lot of dentists kind of think that their website is this like pristine, untouchable, like perfect display of who they are. That
Yes.
needs to be done with. People today, even people that are like old people like you and I'm older than you, I'm pretty sure. Don't tell me
I
your age.
doubt it. I doubt it. I'm 53.
Oh, wow. Oh, you are older than me. Oh, phew. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah, I
I've
am.
had
I knew I was. I think we've had this conversation
we were in
before.
high school together, so I'm not that far off. Anyway, the whole the there's this idea that your website is kind of this static kind of perfect presentation. We want to get away from that.
Yeah.
So there's been an idea that like social media content should belongs on social and it doesn't belong on your website. If you shoot a video that's super authentic on your cell phone, you absolutely put it on your website. Absolutely. You don't like it doesn't have to be perfect lighting like your lighting. My lighting sucks in this video for some reason. I got a shadow on the side. It doesn't have to be perfect lighting. It doesn't have to be edited perfectly. People
Yeah.
recognize the authenticity. They recognize that it's not planned.
People
That's
don't like
real,
perfect.
and they don't want perfect. They don't
No.
want it. They want to get to know who you are. So I would say to Samia, you get a video review, you post it to Instagram Reels, Facebook, TikTok Reels, put it on a testimonial page on your website, put it in a blog post on your website, send it out as a newsletter and an email newsletter to your patients. You put it everywhere you possibly can.
That's so true. You repurpose it because you know what? The world needs to know how fantastic you are.
Yeah.
And they need to come to a good doctor. So it's like you're not bragging. You're
Yeah.
it's so important. And isn't it true, Adrian, that when a practice hits 100 Google reviews, it's like a snowball where the reviews just kind of feed more reviews?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well,
what
what
is that
happened?
whole thing?
Yeah. There's definitely a kind of a tipping point, and it's
Yeah.
different for different industries. In the dental industry, I would say it's probably and it depends on the competition and the number of reviews of the other dentists kind of in your area. So if everybody's got 100 to 200 reviews, then what you want to do is get generally more reviews. And as you
Yes.
get more and more reviews, you just get more and more patients. They just you just it just happens, and you get
Well,
more and
because
more.
you have social proof.
Yeah,
That's
people
why,
just
because you have social proof, they want to come to see you,
yep.
right?
Yes. All right. We've gone almost 45 minutes. I was told everybody I'd keep this to 30. I want you
Yes.
to talk about your two books really quick.
Okay.
And I know you mentioned that you would give everybody a free downloadable copy of your books.
Oh, yes. Let me,
Talk about that.
oh, look at, I just raised my hand on accident. Let me go ahead and share
Please,
my
please.
screen if I can. Is that okay,
Yeah,
Adrian, if
please.
I can
Please
share
do.
it now? All right, let's share this guy and then can you see this?
No. Yes.
All
Something's
right.
happening. There you go. Nice.
Okay. So I love to give things away. I love to give presents and I just want to help doctors. I want to help office managers and all the teams. And so yes, you can scan whichever book you want if you want both. And you'll sign up and you'll get the PDF version. But Culture Catalyst, it I just published it, co-authored it with Marnie Blythe, and she's brilliant. And it's all about wellness, social intelligence, communication, and leadership. And it's was written for leaders. And so, and that could be a dentist owner, it could be an office manager, it could be a hygienist who's a leader, but really it's really was written for those owners of a business, even beyond dentistry. And so, yes, this is the book, and it's pretty good there. It's pretty thick. It took us a year and a half to write this.
Did you
And
write it saying it's really, 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 really important so you can get more
no,
pages? Oh, okay.
no, I wrote it saying it's important and here's the meat and potatoes. And so because we have a whole training program built around this. That's videos, 5-minute videos that go out every week.
Oh, I
And so
love it. Everybody should get
that's
it.
on
Really cool.
yes. And so but it's Culture Catalyst and
And
it's
you
on
just
Amazon.
published that like 2 or 3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, I mean
Okay.
that quick. Like I just got the QR code to like I just gave it to you today for us to put this on because we had my hygienepreneur code.
Fresh off the press. All right. Tell us about entrepreneur.
So
Hygienepreneur. Excuse
so
me.
hygienepreneur is all the strategies in building a hygiene-driven practice
Mhm.
and all the little pearl tips and all the strategies that I learned through the years and that we put into that flagship practice in California and we've duplicated it in practice around the country and really leaning on your hygiene team and elevating their purpose. They're not just there to clean teeth, they're there to build your practice, even if they don't know it yet. Okay.
Yeah,
You lean on them and you nurture them and you mentor them and you elevate their existence and recognize that they can be other providers just like your dental associates
I love
for
it.
sure.
All
And
right.
with proper training, they can just absolutely be like, I mean, we talk about 3.3 times as far as their salary with production and all of that. Oh yeah, we get beyond that.
Okay. All
And
right.
it's driven with the hygiene team. So yeah, love
All
it.
right. So you've got two amazing books here that everybody should
Yeah,
download for free. Thank
please.
you. That's awesome. Awesome offer. I think you should do something more like give them something else. What else you got?
Okay.
Something more
Um,
tactical than just
Okay,
reading
so
a book.
here's something so good. And I just kind of created this today with dental intelligence. We will go in and actually dive into your background, your metrics of your practice, and look at that and give you a snapshot of where you're at. And
Okay.
that's about a $3,500 value. And we'll do it because we love you, Adrian, and my social practice. And we love our doctors, and we want doctors to have eyes wide open in their practices
Yeah.
and know their business. And we also want teams to know their business so that way the dentist has help.
Okay.
So, so
This would
yes,
be
so we're
like a
offering that
virtual, this
too.
would be like a virtual meeting.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And
How long do you think it'll take? Is this like an hour, a couple hours?
well, the meeting will be about an hour, but us diving in and going through the analytics will take a few hours.
Okay.
Um, but if you want to take advantage of that,
I think everybody should definitely take advantage of it.
yes,
Why
I mean,
not?
you got to know what's going on. It's just like our houses, what's the money coming in? What's the money coming out? What's our overhead? What's our attrition level at? Oh, we have 50 new patients a month, but we're losing 65 out the back door. Doctors need to know this information, right?
Oh,
And they
that's
also
great.
need to know the good stuff, that they're doing well in areas, which makes everybody feel good.
Well,
So,
how do you want them to jump? I think everybody should do that. How do you want them to just shoot you an email, or
yes, Tiffany at thehygienepreneur.com.
why don't you chat
And
it into
okay,
the
let me put my email in there. Let's see, Tiffany.
Oh wait, it's in the Q&A if everybody can see that she responded, but throw it in the chat just
I'll
so
do
everybody
it so
got
that
it.
way it's webinar chat. Yeah.
And if it's okay with everybody, I'm going to do this. I'm going to give Tiffany a list of everybody that attended, and why don't you shoot everybody an email?
I will
Cool.
because we have so many training programs. Let me make sure I spelt my name right at the hygienepreneur.com. Okay, we have so many different things available for practices because every practice is different. And so and that's the first thing I do when I meet a dentist. I say, "Okay, let's talk about kind of, how you are and what you got going on." And then we talk together and figure it out. So we've got a lot of different things going on, and even a study club every month that really helps with networking and collaboration
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
mentorship. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, Tiffany, thank you. That's fantastic. That's a super awesome like value add. I hope everybody takes advantage of it. Definitely get the books. You are a gangster. That's a good thing in hygiene, a gangster hygienist.
Yes.
You're a phenom and a
I
hygiene
think you're
phenom.
supposed to say gangsta.
Oh, well, I'm 50 years old,
I
so
know, but
I
when we have
probably should
kids,
say gangsta because that's what we
gangsta.
did in the 80s, man. Gangsta.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. But
Um, do you
and
have any
Adrian,
parting words? Anything else you want to say?
I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I mean, it's just so wonderful that people want to engage and learn and see what's going on and it's just wonderful. And thank you for giving us this platform, Adrian, and everything you're doing at My Social Practice is awesome. I
Well,
mean,
thank you. I appreciate that.
to take all that off our plate, the social media marketing and the reputation management and all the website design. I
Yeah.
mean, and the Google business, all of that. Okay, take that off our plate so we can just focus on those relationships with our patients and building a practice with those experiences. And so I appreciate you.
Well,
Appreciate
thank you
you
very
so much.
much. It's been a pleasure. You're wonderful. We'll do this. We'll definitely do this again.
Yes.
And thanks everybody for attending. I will get
Thank you,
this
everyone.
recording out to everybody, and I'm gonna, with your permission, even though you can't say no, I'm gonna give your emails to Tiffany so she can shoot you an email with maybe add these QR codes in again and just mention your free consultation offer using the dental intelligence software.
Yes.
And have a great night. Everybody go
A great night.
do something fun.
Do something fun. And also, if you have any other questions, you can shoot me an email with questions too, because I know we have only we did 51 minutes. So there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
21 minutes longer than I said we would do. So anyway,
Well, there was some
hey,
value
honestly,
there.
we just get talking and I just keep asking questions. Oh,
So
well.
easy.
Okay.
So easy and natural, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to stop the recording and thanks everybody.